available to your students starting next year. This is the first and only opportunity for them to sign up, because once they start in the sophomore year, they're with us for the duration of their time here at Paly. The three things that we want to make sure that we convey to you today about what the pathway is: it's interdisciplinary, it's project-based, and it's a cohort. Mr. Bloom, what does interdisciplinary mean?
Interdisciplinary is where the two subjects, history and English, talk to each other. And so the classes flow in between, because what they're talking right now, we're reading Cry the Beloved Country in English, and we're doing South Africa in history. So as we understand the struggles of the story, we can also understand the geography and the demographics. And so we'll do that over and over and over and over and over and over again. That is interdisciplinary.
Thank you, Mr. Bloom. So you see two other classes up there. So English and History is joined by AAR, Advanced Authentic Research, which my colleague, the esteemed Deanna Shute, will talk with you later about. So they'll be taking English and History in the pathway sophomore, junior, senior year. They pick up a semester of Stats Apps their junior year, although if they would like to take AP Statistics, they can do that too. And in the senior year, they'll take Advanced Authentic Research to help them complete their social justice capstone. It's project-based learning. What that means is that they don't learn in a vacuum. We apply all of the skills to the real world, real problems, and we're looking to give them an authentic audience for their projects. So rather than writing an essay just for an English teacher like me, they're using that writing to answer an authentic question to an authentic audience. For example, our first cohort went and presented their findings on something that was happening in the district to the board, and I sat there and they got some listening and speaking credit for that, rather than standing and doing a book report in my class. Lastly, it's a cohort. What does that mean?
So cohort, it means that we stay together. And I think it's one of the most important parts of the social justice pathway, is that we start with your kids as teachers in the 10th grade, and we stay with them in the 11th grade and the 12th grade, so that we all move through it together, so that the group becomes better at learning, better at understanding, better at getting stuff done, because they know each other and they understand, and they understand what's going on between us and the class. So the cohort is the reason why they can only join in the 10th grade, because if you're not in the cohort, then you're not in the cohort. I like to remind the kids is that, it's not a prison term, so that you can't get out. And we remind them that if that's your main concern about the social justice pathway, it's like, can I get out if I want to? That's an indication that perhaps that's not the kind of a learning environment that's best suited for you. So we'll encourage them to talk and ask questions about what it is that they're concerned about. But so far, the cohort has been has simply been the most successful component of the pathway so far. They're learning and they're writing and stuff like that too, but they're actually really becoming successful humans. So I think that's the big part of the cohort.
All right. That's our time. Thank you and good night, Palo Alto.
I call them the dynamic duo. Oh, actually it's Paul Candell. Do you want to go? Why don't you go? You should go. Okay. Yeah, you can talk about AP Capstone and then A. I'm so sorry. This is Deanna Shute, and she is our AAR TOSA guru. She gets shy when I call her that, but she's here to tell you everything about AAR and our AP Capstone program, which is very new.
Thank you. Move this down a little bit. So I'm trying to sort of separate out AP Capstone and AAR because they are separate. This slide is about AP Capstone, so let me start with this. This is a new program from the College Board, and having freshmen, I want you to be aware of it and consider it if it seems like a good option for your children. This is a College Board program, and so it's not determined by us. It is essentially 6 AP courses, and 2 of the courses are AP Seminar and AP Research. Those are sort of the, so short here, those are sort of the cornerstones of the course, of the program. AP Seminar is a sort of a deep dive into background research, forming an argument, supporting an argument. It's a very interesting AP. The actual AP itself, I believe, is only 40% test. It's group projects, it's presentations that are videotaped and sent to the College Board. It's offered this year for the first time at Palo Alto High School, so we're in the middle of it. It's very exciting. The course after that is called AP Research. So you have to take AP Seminar before you can take AP Research. And AP Research is a course where you do your own research. So you are, from beginning to end, planning your own research project. So it's a 2-year sequence. In addition to those 2 courses, you have to take 4 other AP courses, any courses of your choosing. You have to pass those tests with 3s or above. If all 6 of those courses are completed, then the College Board gives you what's called an AP Capstone Diploma. So that's something that in particular, having freshmen, it's good for you to know about and to perhaps plan for. AP Seminar is offered 10 through 12, and so it is a 10th grade AP option, and AP Research is 11th through 12th after that, and 4 additional courses. Really exciting stuff. I don't know what's after this, Vicki. AAR, sorry, is Paul in between? No, I'm right here. Okay, great. So now I have to kind of pop over and talk to you a little bit about AAR, and I'd also want you to understand kind of why they're together and why they're sort of under my umbrella. AAR is a very unique course. It's designed here in Palo Alto. We're now in our 3rd year. In essence, it's a 1-year option. It's not an AP course. You do get CTE credit. It's a 1-year option that kind of compresses the 2 together. So you do the background research and the project executed all together. You're partnered with a mentor in the community, and over the course of the year, you go through a curriculum that we've designed together. It's a course that's done over both high schools. It's designed and implemented through the district office. And so we work together to partner kids with mentors and to work through the curriculum. We have a celebratory showcase in May. This course is required for social justice, so we partner with them. We're always eager to partner with all sorts of anybody that wants to partner with us. We have projects in science, we have projects in social science, we have business case studies, we have humanities arts projects. We pretty much will take anything kids are interested in. If they sign up for this course, they're paired with a mentor in an area of their choosing. It shares curriculum with AP Seminar and AP Research. We are learning about their curriculum and we're weaving it in. But it's basically a turbo version of the 2 put together. We are very excited to be offering this. We have our showcase in May, so if anybody hears about that or wants to come, we hold it here at Palo Alto High School. We have 2 options for this course. It's one during the school day and one after school, so they have different course codes when you sign up. Just as Erin Angel said, if you want to contact me, my email's not on there, but my name is Deanna Shute, and you can certainly ask me any questions about that. But it's great to consider 10 through 12. You can take this course instead of the AP sequence. You can take it before the AP sequence. You can take it after this has no prereq whatsoever. No necessarily rush to take this. You could take AP Seminar and decide, the AP sequence isn't for me, and then go to AAR. So this has a lot of freedom to fit into a schedule any way that works for your children. So hopefully you'll consider it. Thank you.
Thanks, Deanna. And when we can input her email address into this presentation before we upload it to Paly.net. Excuse me. Next, we're going to go back up, and I'm going to introduce a man who started at Paly, I think before your children were born. But he started when he was 10, so he's really brilliant. Paul Kandel is one of our journalism advisors. He advises the Paly Voice and the Verity, and he is representing the journalism program tonight. Paul Kandel.
Hi, everybody. Nice turnout here. Great to see all the interest. I am representing the journalism program today. That is the program we are just so proud of that operates on about 5 key principles. One is that the work students do is student-led. I'm just an advisor, and that lends a certain power to what the experience offers students, a tremendous power. In addition, they are writing or producing work for an authentic, real audience. That as well, extraordinarily powerful, both in print, 3,000 copies of our magazines and the newspaper that you've seen, as well as just kind of uncountable views online. There are a few magazines that you might not see. Most of them get mailed home, but there's also C Magazine, and there's 2 issues of Verity that you're going to have to keep your eyes out for that are not getting mailed home. A new science magazine and a new travel magazine. Those are coming out shortly. So, student-led, authentic audience. The publication staffs tend to operate as very large families, so it's kind of a place for your child to have a home. My own daughter graduated a few years ago from the Paly journalism program, and it was the place where she found her people. And I know how important that is for so many of our kids that find that. They can find them elsewhere, but we offer a great home for that. We also push really hard to provide them with the best technology that we can that enables them to produce all kinds of great things across the board, from print to mobile to television to audio as well. And finally, we operate in a school district in a state where students have the most legal freedoms to pursue the student press rights, I think anywhere in the world. And the combination of these things makes for the very powerful program that I hope you've already had a chance to witness. So how do you get into that? There's 3 stages here. The last one is brand new. Most students will enter this program through beginning journalism. There are a few exceptions, and most of those are on the radio and the TV end of things. And they now have their own beginning programs there. There is a possibility of kind of, once you're in, switching around with the instructor approval, but most students do beginning journalism, and often it's a semester-long class that gets district elective credit, and it's often paired with living skills, which is also a semester class. So that's a good block for your sophomore year. In 11th grade, that is the year when students generally operate as reporters. On one of the publications, I'm talking about Verity, the Paly Voice, C Magazine, the Campanile newspaper, Viking Sports Magazine, Madrono Yearbook. There's also Paly Radio, KPLY, and In Focus Broadcast Journalism. So those are the options that are out there for sophomore year, and we're producing new things all the time. You never know what's going to be next. And the 3rd year, we have a brand new set of courses. You can choose the honors or the non-honors version. This is Media, Leadership, and Management. We're taking what we have long, essentially what we've long done with our leaders, our editors, our producers, training them how to lead a staff and manage a publication. And we've formalized that. There are honors options. I think it would be, I think most students will be taking the honors version of this. So at the end of this pathway, there is a way for students to get that extra GPA point if that's important to them. And we are going to work on trying to do that for the second year as well, which I think would, no promises, but we're going to see if we can get that in time for this year's freshmen when they're juniors. You can learn more about these programs in two real significant ways. The first is that your kids are all going to take home one of these course catalogs in the next few weeks. You can also find this online. I think you're getting it next week. And in here are lists of all the classes that Paly offers. And there is a tremendous flowchart about the journalism program and the media arts program. It looks like this. So keep an eye out for it. It will help you. Well, I'm not sure. People say it's so complicated it doesn't help, but I can see right through it. And you can always text me or write to me. Stop by the Media Arts Center if you have questions about it. That's one way that you can learn more about the programs. Another way is by coming on Wednesday, January 31st, 6 to 8 p.m. We have a Media Arts Center open house. There are flyers on your way out the door here, and we will have on hand then not just the teachers and advisors in the program, but students in the program, so you can chat with somebody from each publication if you'd like to find out about what it's like to be part of those programs. I think that's it for my general journalism explanation, and now we're flipping over to broadcast journalism. So we're going to jump 2 slides ahead. Can we do that? No, I'm in charge. See, there we go. All right, so a special word on behalf of Paul Hopridge, the broadcast journalism, who is not here today. In Focus is a 10-minute live broadcast program that goes to all Paly classrooms once a day. Just rolled out a new graphic look. You can find it at, you might want to write this down, infocusnews.tv. I think that's what it is, infocusnews.tv. Have a look. If your child's on this staff, not only will they be doing this and probably having a chance to work, to dabble with Paly Radio, which operates out of the same room at the same time sometimes, but there's also this, the Student Television Network Convention that's usually, I believe, in February. It's a week-long event down in San Diego generally, and it's, from what I've heard, it's an extraordinary experience. I would add that the other publications also do their own field trips. We're happy to be lucky this year. Ours is in San Francisco, but next year I believe it's probably in Anaheim or San Diego. Again, it's a weekend, 5,000 students all pursuing the same thing, great energy. You can see here the things that you learn from broadcast journalism: editing, camera use, live production skills, writing, interview technique, teamwork, work ethic, and problem solving. But if you just go to infocusnews.tv, you will see for yourself, it will become obvious that these are tremendous opportunities for students to do tremendous things in journalism. Thank you so much for listening, and please contact me at pkandell, P-K-A-N-D-E-L-L, at pausd.org if you have any questions. Thanks so much.
Everybody still with us? This is me.
So hi, welcome, class of 2021. Is it okay if I keep going while you're doing that? Okay. So you just learned about some of the programs. Your students have not heard about these yet. So that's just something I wanted to point out, that you are finding out before they have found out. So what I'm going to go over, now that you know some of the options that they will have, we are going to go and talk a little bit more in detail about the nuts and bolts, about
The requirements, I know you know a little bit, but we're going to go over it generally speaking each time just to hammer it in, and so you'll know it by the time you come to sophomore parent night. You'll be able to get up here and do it. I am going to talk a little bit about the CSU and UC requirements, and you'll see the last thing on here where it says 4-year plan and time management. That is what your students will be doing in January. So when Mr. Candell held up the green course catalog, they will receive those in February when they attend advisory, and advisories will be broken up by alphabetically by the student's last name. So that way the TA can spend more time individually with smaller groups of students. You can go onto the Paly website, and there is, under guidance, you can, the link I believe is called advisory schedule, for 9th grade advisory schedule, so you can see the breakdown of that. What they will start off in January will be 4-year plans, so I'll talk a little bit more about it. This is what generates the 4-year plan. So there are UC CSU requirements, and there are Paly graduation requirements. They're very, very similar. The one thing I do want to highlight is that students receive credit for graduation if they earn a D-. So a D- earns them their 5 credits in that semester course, but it is not a college accepted grade. So any student that receives a D or an F in a course, I will be putting them into summer school, but we will talk about that a little more later. For college, they need to have a C- or above for successful completion. So for English, there's a 4-year requirement for graduation, 4-year requirement for college. Social studies, 4-year requirement for Paly. They take it every year they're here. College requires 2 years. This is minimum eligibility to apply to college. For math, they need 3 years of math to graduate, and they need 3 years of math for college through Algebra 2 at a minimum. But they recommend 4 years of math for college. Anytime you see the parentheses, that means it's recommended. The first is required, and then recommended 4 years of math. We'll continue on to science. So for science, students need 2 years to graduate, and they need 2 years for college. Minimum, recommend 3 years. It needs to be biology. Many of the 9th graders are in biology now. If they're not taking it now, they'll take it next year as 10th graders. After biology, they take a physical science. Usually chemistry, they often go to physics, and then there are other options if they're science fans. Another requirement is world language. So for world language, it will say level 2. I just want to be clear, because sometimes there can be some confusion about 2 years compared to levels. So what we're looking at is level 2. So some students aren't taking world language right now. They might start in 10th grade. They might go into level 2 now. They have completed their requirement once they finish their level 2 of a language. College requires level 2. We require level 2, but recommend for college up through level 3. Everybody's favorite, physical education, PE. Any PE teachers in here? No PE teachers? Your students need 2 years of PE to graduate. So typically 9th and 10th grade, they will have some great options for 10th grade with yoga and dance, and there's athletic conditioning. So I think they always seem happy when they learn about different options for PE, and of course the sports. Then visual and performing arts. So students need 1 year of visual and performing arts to graduate, and they need 1 year of visual and performing arts for college. Of course, they'll continue whatever they love to do and passionate. We encourage them to take more and more. These are just the minimum requirements to graduate and minimum requirements to apply to college. Career Tech Ed. So Career Tech Ed are the more hands-on courses. They were referred to for like AAR. I heard Ms. Shute say it fulfills a Career Tech Ed requirement. Mr. Candell mentioned Career Tech Ed requirement for the advanced journalisms. Once your student receives the course catalog, all this will be outlined in the course catalog, so you can use it as a reference. Career Tech Ed students need 1 year to graduate from the district, from Paly. It is not a college requirement, but many of the courses that fulfill Career Tech Ed are college electives. So they can fulfill two things, one for graduation, one for college. Living skills, semester class. I believe this is the only real semester class that is a requirement. They need living skills to graduate. It contains elements that are required by the state of California for a high school diploma. Very important class, living skills. Not required for college though, but needed for graduation. Then you'll see where it says electives to 220 credits. That's the minimum needed to graduate from Paly. 220 credits is the minimum needed, but if you add up all those requirements, they come to 195. So there's 25 left over that the student can take whatever they want to. Maybe it's a third year of world language, or it's painting and drawing 2, or advanced photo. All those courses that they continue in roll over into elective categories to equal the 220 or above. But they need a 220 minimum to graduate. Okay, here's a typical sophomore schedule. So this is something that they're going to be signing up for in February. And just to give you a general outline, they're going to be signing up for a history course. The history course that's required, U.S. Government and Contemporary World, semester of each. Combined. SJP has a U.S. History and Contemporary World component. So this is a requirement. Every sophomore will be in that class. English, of course, it's a 4-year requirement. So they'll be in English 10 or 10A. Math. So math is, of course, something that they'll be taking in 10th grade. The teacher and the student will be talking about what is recommended for the next year for placement. Because we definitely want your son or daughter to be challenged but not overwhelmed. So it's a conversation that they have and a recommendation made by the teacher. Science. They will be taking biology if they haven't taken it this year, or after bio, they will be taking chemistry, next physical science. World language would be their 5th class. If they haven't taken a world language, they will start level 1. If they haven't taken a language and they're at level 1, it's predetermined that way, or they'll continue to level 2 or level 3, or if they have not taken a language, it would be great to connect with the world language department to figure out which placement, like if they have some background in a world language, or if they want to start a new language, this would be a good opportunity to do that. They just need to get through that level 2 and minimum. Then they have to have PE or the yoga or physical education class, and then they have their elective. Similar to this year, it can be a visual and performing art or a career tech ed course. Wow, this is a very full slide. Okay, so I'm not going to sit there. Of course you can take pictures, this will be posted. What it is mainly about is that in January, the students will be meeting with their TAs, as I already mentioned, and will be going over their 4-year plan. And the way they're going to be doing it is they will be actually going through Infinite Campus. So they'll list everything with their TA. I'll be visiting them too if they have any questions. They go into Infinite Campus, they'll learn how to do it, they'll be on their laptops, and they will choose a general schedule for next year. And then the year after, and the year after that. This 4-year plan is a work in progress. And it is a time for them to have a conversation with their TA and just to get a general idea about what they're going to be doing each year at Paly and how spots open up in their periods and how they can take more courses than they thought. It's a great planning tool. If you don't love it electronically, you also, in your course catalog, when you receive it, your student receives it, at the end of it is on paper a 4-year plan, if you're more visual like me and you need it laid out. But the kids will definitely be doing it in their advisories with their TA at the same time that they will receive A time management sheet, which is another conversation that they're having with their TA, which is why we do such small groups, is because the time management sheet helps them figure out how much time they are spending at school, after school, in sports, or extracurricular activities, what they're doing on the weekends. They're actually going through on their time management sheet and listing everything so that they can see how much time they're spending or not spending, if the case may be, on something that they need to spend it on. And this helps with them in planning the next years so that they don't overwhelm themselves and we don't want total stress. We want balance in their lives. So this is a way for them to have balance in their lives with the academic, extracurricular, sports and everything, and just free time. So they'll work on those sheets and you will sign them too. So you'll be getting those. In January, they should be coming home with the time management sheets and hopefully talking about their 4-year plans on Infinite Campus. After they do this in January, on their Thursday advisories, then in February, they will be meeting with their TAs, receive their course catalogs, a course selection sheet with all the numbers, and they will come home to you and discuss with you what they're signing up for. And you will print it out and sign it, similar to like what you did at Jordan or JLS at the middle schools last year, and then you'll turn it into the TA. That all happens in February. We like to spread it out so there's time for conversation and questions. I think. Also, if your student has a case manager, they are another part of the team to help with this. So it's the TA, you, the student, case manager, and me. Okay, I will introduce Crystal Laguna, who will discuss the remaining slides with you. Thank you for your attention.
Good evening, everybody. So we're going to talk a little bit about the 10th through 12th grade TA program. So your students will actually be introduced to this in April, where they will also get more of an understanding of what they can expect for the coming years. And their 10th through 12 TA will stick with them through those 3 years as well. They will be filling out an online survey where they will answer some questions, and based on those questions, they will be assigned into groups. We are very lucky that we are able to use technology to really make sure that we serve the needs of our students, while other high schools perhaps are linked to one counselor for over 300 students. So some ways to make up deficiencies, if they are needed to retake a class, they can definitely do summer school, which will this year be located at Jordan. We do offer different sessions based on the course, and if they're making up semester 1 or semester 2. So session 1 would be linked with semester 1, and session 2 would be linked to semester 2, while session 1A is geared more toward different courses and math bridges classes. If students are needing to actually take summer school, the counselors will be enrolling them throughout the spring. Just to also mention, students do have the opportunity to take off-campus courses. However, just kind of keep in mind that any graduation requirement must be taken at Paly. So students who can take off-campus courses for elective credit. The students do also need to get prior approval before taking these courses. Otherwise, they risk the possibility of not getting that coursework on the Paly transcript. So please make sure that they get Paly's approval before taking the class. And once they complete the class, we ask that they turn in an official's transcript that clearly shows the grade and the credits that they earned in that class. Also, keep in mind that if students do decide to take off-campus courses that at a community college, even though they're either for recovery or for elective credit, that it does begin their college transcript. So they do need to report these grades to the college when they're applying. So just kind of keep that in mind. Some of our Paly resources here is, as we mentioned, advisory, where students can really get all the information that they need to know throughout the year. Flex is also an opportunity for them to reach out to teachers, really get help in that material that they maybe didn't understand, or even just to kind of see what's going on ahead. So please have them use this time wisely. It is mandatory that they are here for Flex. So Wellness Center also provides students the opportunity to go somewhere and kind of talk to someone if they need to. The Peer Tutoring Center is always open for students who perhaps want to get tutored in a subject that they're struggling in. They also can possibly even tutor other students. The Math Homework Club is a great resource for students as well. It's 1 hour after school, Monday through Thursday. There's a math teacher there every day, Monday through Thursday, just waiting to help students in any of the math classes that we offer. AVID is a great program we have here on campus. It's also kind of geared just to make sure that students are on the pathway to college education and giving them the resources and the tools to do so. We also have our Paly handbook, where you can get a lot of the information on our policies, our rules, and just what's available on campus. Paly Link is a great place to also subscribe, where you can just get all the information once a week. It's typically sent out on Sundays, and you can see everything in just one click. And at the top, you'll see all the dates and important information. And when you scroll down, you can really see everything more in detail. And that way you can kind of keep on top of everything that we're offering and the opportunities for families and students. Paly.net, as you know, is also the best place to get information, where the students and parents are able to see what's going on at Paly, any information that they need to access. Support for all students. We want to make clear that if your student is on the free and reduced lunch list, we don't actually have access to that information. So the only way we know that there are these students is by your student coming to tell us. We really want to encourage students to let us know, because there are many options. Not only do they get reduced price meals, but they also have options to receive scholarships for some of the events on campus. There is a possibility of fee waivers for the college applications and the SAT and ACT, where they don't have to pay the fees for these things. So please have them come and tell us if they are a part of the free reduced lunch program. And if you feel that if you are not enrolled and you think you might qualify, we encourage you to apply, even if you kind of have that doubt, because the fact that there are so many other things that play into it and so many other things that are available to students who are on this list. The way you can sign up is by visiting the district website, pausd.org, and under meal plan, you'll see the information where you can apply online. So you don't really even need to fill out a paper form, you can just do everything online. So a little bit about how parents can help. Just staying informed, as I mentioned previously, the Paly Link and the Paly.net websites are a great place to just kind of keep in mind on what's going on, what's coming up. Our calendar is always full of everything that's going to be happening in the school year. Just kind of checking that regularly if there's anything added, any possible dates that are testing, just making sure that you stay informed. Encourage your student to advocate for themselves, to really speak to teachers if they're not understanding something, if they have questions. Really learning that skill is going to be valuable even throughout college or any other post-high school plans that they have. As Ms. Segueras had mentioned, just balancing their lifestyle, making sure that they have a healthy balance between homework and school and extracurriculars, sports, anything that they're doing, and also that they're getting enough sleep so that they can, do their best work once they're at our campus. Knowing your child's friends is also really important. It's good to know who are they hanging out with, what they're doing outside of the classroom. I know it's really popular for the town and country for students to travel there for lunch, so just knowing who they're around. Also, enjoy your child's high school years as they are as well. It's a great time to really learn about what they're passionate about, what their interest is, what are their plans for after high school. So enjoy these years with them as well. All right. Well, thank you very much. I will hand it over to Ms. Segueras.
When Crystal, and I was over there going, I forgot to mention sleep. So important, and I feel lame that I didn't say anything about it. When we're talking about time management, how did I forget sleep? To me, that's the thing that is highlighted the most when I meet with students, and they'll say when they fall asleep. And I have teen kids too, and I think they're in bed, and then I'll wake up to get up to go somewhere, and I'm like, oh my God, their light's back on. They're like on their phone, or they're on doing, and it is hard to monitor, and it just seems so important that kids realize themselves that often when their mood is down or their productivity is not where it should be, we'll look back and I'll say, like, what time did you go to bed? And I'm like, oh, 1 or 2, and I'm like, oh my God, So getting them to see that is huge, and I'm sorry I didn't mention that the importance of sleep. So those are my 2 cents. We have finished our PowerPoint presentation, so I just wanted to say thank you and open it up to any questions that anybody has that hopefully I can provide a great answer, illuminating answer. Yes? It is not that I know of. There is 0 period just for PE though. So we're not adding anything to it. Is that what you're saying? Like, but may I ask why they're enrolled in 0 period? They can. Yeah, it depends where their open period is. Yes. That it didn't pass? Correct. We do. We have a bell schedule committee, and it is one of the things they're addressing. Yes. Yes. Yes.
Question regarding summer classes.
Yes.
Will you be offering living skills again this summer or not?
I believe so.
And sign-ups are which one?
Usually it's in February. When I checked, it's like towards the end of February, but I would check the PAUSD website. There's a summer school link. And they'll update it as it becomes informational, but it's usually towards the end of February. Yes, I thought I saw another.
I just have a follow-up.
Yes.
So, is that a first-come, first-served type of thing, or I heard that upperclassmen get priority over?
They do get priority. They do get priority because they have less time in order to meet their requirements for graduation. Yes.
The AP capstone program, is this for science majors or journalism? I wasn't sure. And then the degree that you get at the end, what does that mean?
Good question for Ms. Shute. Can I bring you the mic?
No, did you ask if it was science?
Mm-hmm.
It is.
What kind of research or what kind of?
It's any kind. It's any discipline. The AP capstone?
So the child can choose any?
Absolutely.
It's like whatever the student is passionate about and whatever.
There are no rules about what students can research for AP capstone.
What diploma are you getting?
What diploma?
What does that mean?
It's a college board distinction. So they've called it the AP capstone diploma. It's given by them, and it's just called the AP capstone diploma. It's a distinction from the college board. The college board doesn't give you credit for college. Well, they give you AP scores, which can translate depending on where you go. But it's a college board distinction.
And College Board is the organization that produces the SAT, the SAT, AP exams. So it's a college board.
Do freshman grades count?
They count, yes. There is a caveat there. I think where the confusion can be is when a student is applying in their senior year to CSUs and UCs, the GPA for eligibility is 10th and 11th grade when you're applying to CSUs and UCs. They look at 9th grade though. They do look at 9th grade. And it counts for like scholarships and things like that. They'll look at all the years. We always tell kids it counts. Yes, it counts. We're all looking. We're all keeping track of that. Anybody have any other? Yes?
I'm curious when our students will get this information, and will the same speakers be speaking to them?
Their TAs will give it all to them in advisory. Yes. Yes, they will be delivered the information in advisory. Yes, in the back.
Yes, could you give us a quick update whether, we weighted and the unweighted, discussion, what happened on the all the things done? Or I find my junior
they will go with the UC weighted system. So I don't know yet whether they will choose to just go with, so currently the sophomores, juniors, and seniors, their cumulative weighted GPA includes all AP and honors classes as listed in the course catalog.
So they get that extra one.
Yes. And so the difference would be for the UC. The UC system doesn't weight every single honors class. So that would be the difference, and we just haven't yet heard what the decision is yet.
So it's still kind of a little difference between Ghana and Paly at this point.
No,
No.
Gun and Paly is doing the exact same thing.
Also, so it's the freshman.
It's the difference between the current freshman class and sophomore. I'm not sure yet what will be decided. Hi.
It's a district decision, so it's done for both.
Right. Is there a deadline for that district decision? I don't know. I would like to know as soon as possible.
What
I believe they're working on it, but I mean, yes, there's a lot going on.
What prompted the fact that they needed to reconsider on this?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that question.
What prompted the fact that they wanted to reconsider the weighting in freshman year that
Why
would be
change?
different from sophomore?
What changed?
Why change? Why the change? Why can't we continue?
Yeah, that's a very lengthy.
I mean,
don't
it's
know if we wanna get
important
into it.
Maybe it's lengthy, but it's important for people who just arrived and don't have the history to understand why that was.
It's on the board,
Board notes from last year, what everyone did last year.
yeah, there's a lot written.
Are you asking why we went to weighted GPA? Or why?
Why you're reconsidering the way it used to be?
Oh, because, I can answer that. So the decision went from including just an unweighted GPA to include both last year. So with last year's current seniors. That decision affected the current Gun and Paly students. So they grandfathered in all of the current students to align with that decision, with the caveat that they would now look at something new or official for all of the students who were current students last year, if that makes sense. So they could choose to do the same thing, right? So I don't know what they're going to choose yet. We will wait and see.
Yes.
For the freshmen, do they build up on the grade that they've got till now, or do they kind of, now that they go into January, for example, if in a subject they have, say, a grade B, so going forward, will they build on top of that, or is that going to be a fresh start?
Fresh start.
What's the question?
It's a fresh start for semester 2 with the grade book. Like they earn their semester grades, and that will roll over onto transcripts. It's done at the district level, onto all the transcripts. So your freshman students will have started their Paly transcript with the first semester grades. And once this week started, they have a fresh start, blank slate in their classes. They will also receive their transcripts and advisory in February when they are doing their course selection, and we'll go over their transcripts with them so they know how to read them, what they mean and signify. Yes, way in the back.
I have a couple of questions. How many electives they can take in sophomore year? And second one is the social justice pathway. Is it considered as an elective or as part of English, which is mandatory?
Social justice is a pathway, so the students elect to take it, and in the social justice pathway, they are meeting English and history requirements. But they are electing to go into that pathway and follow that focus, that interdisciplinary focus that Mr. Bloom and Ms. Angel were talking about, and now I already forgot your first point. Oh, electives. How many electives? It's at a minimum of 25 credits. They can take many more than that, but at least 25 elective credits.
In sophomore year?
Oh no, throughout the years. Do you want me to go back to the sophomore schedule? They'll have 1 to 2 classes that they can take as electives depending on their course load. Yes.
I have a question about world language requirements, and if there's any difference between your Paly graduation versus UC and any of the other colleges out there. Does it have to be sequential within one particular language, like Spanish 1, 2, 3, or can you take Spanish 1, French 1, and Mandarin 1?
It has to be in depth in the same language. Yes. Yes.
In the social justice pathway, is the English curriculum the same as in the social justice pathway? Do you read the same books and stuff?
I don't know if I'm the best one to answer that. In 11th, it changes in 12th a little bit, but not 10th.
So what they do is in 10th grade, it'll be the same curriculum as the other 10th graders. In 11th and 12th, they'll do American Lit and World Lit because they are the required semester-long English classes, just like everyone else. But they, as a cohort, will choose the elective that they want to study, the English elective. So whatever they choose, if they vote on it, it's a big thing. This year's seniors elected to choose Modern California History for their senior history elective, which was great because we hadn't run that here. So it was nice that they could do that. Gunn had the course, and so they were interested in it, and they did it this year. So they'll choose as a cohort. Question? Are there any other pathways? Well, we have a sports careers pathway. It's a little bit of a misnomer though, because the students are welcome to take any course. So in the course catalog, we'll list out the pathway and we'll list out the suggested courses per grade level and the availability of the courses, but students are not, they don't have to stay in the pathway as they would with social justice pathway. So it's a little bit of a misnomer because they can choose to take this class or this class, but it's a suggestion from us if they would like to take the opportunity to study this pathway.
Can I add to that, Vicki?
Sure.
The Career Tech Ed department in the state of, in the country has a number of pathways that are also outlined in the course catalog. Pathways are suggested thematic courses that kind of link together. And the sports pathway is like that as well. They're courses that are linked together. But social justice is the only cohort pathway we have where the students stay together as a cohort.
Thank you. And where they have to take the required classes. These are really good questions. Question way in the back.
So my son is interested in being an architect, right? So there's a clear path being an architect, but in order to be an architect, every school, university has different requirements. But in order to choose that pathway, like, do you help any pathway at a particular, interest in, like architect and such? Like, what my son should do? Go talk to one of you, or?
So I think probably your son's first point of contact would be their TA. So TAs can help students because they have the experience of advising many students and in certain pathways in different colleges and majors and whatnot. We also have the College and Career Center. When your students are in their second semester of junior year is when they'll have their first official one-on-one conversation with a career college advisor. But students are also welcome to pop into the College and Career Center to ask these sorts of questions to our college advisors as well. So that's another resource for your student.
So that starts in the 9th grade or 10th, like you were saying?
The College Center is open to all of our students. They won't be able to sit down and have a meeting per se because they spend their time first semester with seniors and then second semester with juniors. But they do take questions and drop-ins as well. So that's a great place for your student to go to. And their teacher advisor is a good person to ask as well. Question?
Yes. How big is the current cohort, and is there a limit to the cohort for the social justice pathway?
Oh, that's a great question. So the cohort is 60 kids. Each cohort is about 60 kids. It's roughly two sections. If we have more than 60 kids who choose to take social justice pathway, we will do a lottery. And then the social justice teachers will have a night, usually, so in about I would say about May, students will be, they'll be informed that they were selected. I don't like to say selected because it's a random selection. So that they got a spot in social justice pathway. They'll be invited to an informational night. The teachers will go over the pathway more in depth. They'll also ask students and parents to sign a contract saying, yes, right now I fully commit to this, I'd love to, because they are taking the spot of a person who really wants to be in there as well. And then if for some reason we have a person, drop out, then we have wait list, and then the next person goes in. You're welcome.
If the student is not in that pathway, are these classes open to as electives for others not doing the pathway?
Okay, so the question was, if a student is not in the social justice pathway, are these classes open? I mean, they're taking classes that are open to all students. They wouldn't be taking them with the students in the social justice pathway. The only time I can think of, maybe that they wouldn't be able to take it is, let's use modern California history, for example. That course was open to all students, but we didn't have enough students who signed up for the class outside of the pathway for us to run it. So the students in the pathway were able to take it because they committed to that, but I couldn't run a section nobody else chose it.
What constitutes an elective?
What constitutes an elective? Technically, an elective would be anything that is not a graduation requirement. So,
like if you wanted to make extra history with that,
yes, it would go into the
science.
Yes, so anything extra beyond the graduation or the specific graduation requirements, they would go into the elective pool. So if a student took more than 2 years of science, those extra years would go into the elective pool. That's the best way I can.
So like if she wants to like 6 English classes above the requirement would count as an elective.
Correct. Although that would be good.
Good question.
Can students take physics in 10th grade?
Can students take physics in 10th grade?
Yes.
Yes, I would say yes. Do most students take chem? Yes, but some could do physics. A couple of years ago, we had a course called conceptual physics. We don't have that course anymore, and the science department took some time to look at their current physics curriculum and sort of revamp it, and they're looking forward to providing that curriculum to some students who may want to take that in sophomore year. And way up there.
Is there a math prerequisite for the physics class?
Is there a math prerequisite for the physics class? Is it concurrent? What was it? Algebra 2. Algebra 2 concurrent or higher.
The GPA for the 9th graders, is it per semester or you average the 2 semesters together and for that 9th grade?
So on your transcript, on a student's transcript, there will be a GPA calculation at the end of every semester, and then there will be an overall GPA calculation, and it'll be current to whatever is current. Cumulative GPA, correct. Yeah. They'll look at all of the courses that a student has taken and what grade they got in each course, and then they might look at the semester GPA. They look at the I would say they look at the transcript and they look at the courses more than the GPA, because oftentimes, I would say more often than not, colleges make their own calculations. They have their own formulas. Yeah. different than how we would calculate it. So it's all different. All right, right here.
So this is not a question, this is a little feedback. So we came from outside the country. So we arrived from UK here, and what I found here is that when I look at the way the math course is graded, my daughter is in an AP course, the first 2 exams that were taken were kind of a revision of what they had been doing in the middle school here, which obviously for students that arrive from outside the country, the curriculum could be different. So sometimes students might not be able to fare very well there. But then subsequent to that, if they do score well, I kind of found here a policy whereby the teacher will decide which grades, which tests she will pick up to make the final grade. Is that correct? Do not all tests carry the same weightage, or do the teachers get that choice?
That would be teacher discretion.
So just a feedback then, if the first 2 tests get a lot of weightage compared to the others, it can be disadvantageous to students who are coming from outside just because they're just coming from a different environment.
So that would be good feedback for the instructional lead, Arnie Lim, of the math department. Yeah, and I know the math department works hard to align their courses so that at least course specifically, they're doing things in alignment. But that would be good feedback to the teacher and then as well as the department instructional leader. Thank you.
Could I ask one more about the social justice pathway?
Sure.
A few years ago, when my daughter was a freshman, they had 2 very good intro sessions. One just for the students, where they heard from the social justice students what it's all about, and one for the parents. And I was wondering if Mr. Bloom and Ms. Angela would put it on again this year, and when it might happen. There was an info night. Come with the children, and then the social justice students take the students apart aside, and we get some information about the...
I know in past years they would do an informational night and they would invite students and parents. I know that the current senior teachers right now, who ideally would be teaching the next cohort, are planning to go into current 9th grade classes. So your kids, they're either in their English or social studies class. They'll take 5 minutes and sort of do a brief introduction and then probably invite them to a more extensive informational night.
So would we find this out on the Paly calendar, or would we just have to update these and see if they were special?
You can do either or. We'll put it on the Paly calendar if it's not already there. Or else you can contact Ms. Angel or Mr. Bloom. All right. Thank you so much for your attention and your presence. We're always here for answers if you'd like to be here. Have a great night.
Right.